Donald Trump started a war with Iran. But what Donald Trump didn't do is he did not co-sign for my 2 car loans. Now the government might have a $38 trillion national debt. I think it's 38 trillion, right? But it did not force me to buy a house that eats at my wallet like a slot machine in Vegas. And sure, inflation is wild, but inflation didn't pick out those nice shoes for me. Inflation didn't pick out those nice clothes. The truth, I signed the paperwork. I swiped the credit cards. I gave in to temptation. The bad news is, like many Americans, I'm drowning in debt. The good news, the same guy who created the problem is also the same guy who can solve it. Now I've been trying to find him. Turns out he's been spending my credit card. So I'm sitting down on my second job. I'm having lunch with the fellas, my coworkers, and I started to realize something. There's a lot of things that all of us have in common. I mean, most of us have kids. Most of us have car payments. Most of us make dumb decisions with money. Most of us are in debt. And particularly, most of us have multiple jobs. So I started breaking down the math, right? 19 people work at my second job. We all work at a college, maintenance and operations and the sort. So 12 of us have 2 or more jobs. Yours truly here has a total of 4. 7 only have 1 job. 5 of those 7 are 65, retired, and had to come back to work. Crazy, right? So this got me thinking, why is this so normal now? The first reason is because inflation outpaced wages. Rent doubled in many places, groceries went up, insurance went up, property taxes went up, utilities went up, but wages, slow climb. You guys remember Aesop's fable? The one about the tortoise and the hare? For all you Gen Z, it's the rabbit and the turtle. So I'll give you guys the cliff notes on this thing. So to make a long story short, the rabbit was passing by and he was making fun of the turtle. It's like, hey man, I'm way faster than you. You can't keep up with me. You're slow. You must be getting tough getting anywhere with your kind of speed. Blah, 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 blah. So the turtle, he got triggered. He said, you know what, man? Why don't we race? I'll bet you anything I'll beat you, right? So the race is on. The rabbit shoots down the path like flash. And the turtle starts walking slowly, right? So for comparisons, the rabbit is inflation and the turtle is our wages. The only difference though is in Aesop's fable, the turtle catches up because the rabbit falls asleep. The rabbit is so far ahead that he thinks, man, I got this. And he takes a little break, he falls asleep, the turtle catches up to him. End of story. Turtle wins. The only difference though is there's no way in hell our wages are catching up to inflation. The second reason why working multiple jobs in America is becoming a common thing is because of taxes. So I make $100K a year before the Avengers assemble. Federal tax, state tax, Social Security, Medicare, retirement contributions, dental, vision, some random deduction I still don't know what the hell it is. And then Thanos snaps his fingers and suddenly I'm living on 69K. And whoa, just when you thought things couldn't get worse, then the mortgage shows up. It doesn't come alone, it brings friends. It brings along car loan payments, groceries, insurance, utilities, teenagers, emergencies. Dude, I'm not broke, I'm just outnumbered. So as everybody knows, 100K in the United States doesn't really go a long way anymore. I mean, before the pandemic, 100K, you were living in a pretty sweet situation. So before 2019, as I've shared before, I had a full-time job. My wife had a full-time job, and we were able to make ends meet. We paid our mortgage, we paid our bills, we took care of everything that we needed with our kids. We even had money to invest. And afterwards, we had money to go have some fun. After the pandemic, it's been a slow downhill decline. I'm to the point now where I'm working 4 jobs. Yes, you heard it correct. 4 jobs. So I'm working my full-time job. I'm working my part-time job. Full-time job 40 hours, part-time job 30 hours. And then I have my side hustle that I do on the weekends along with YouTube. And yes, YouTube is a job. And those require at least 10 to 20 hours on the weekends. So I don't have any days off. Monday through Sunday, I'm working every single day. So if you put that together, 40 plus 30, we got 70 plus 20 on the weekends, that's 90 hours a week. So you may ask yourself, why so many jobs? Well, the short of it is because I got dreams, because I got goals, because I don't want to retire with nothing to show for. I want to be able to have a great retirement where I can do whatever I want. Reason number 3, debt culture. Car payments, credit cards, student loans, personal loans, buy now, pay later. The truth is we all suck at managing money. That makes a 69K income feel like 40K. This forces a second job and maybe even a side hustle. So as far back as I can remember, I've always had debt. As soon as I moved out of my parents' house when I was 19, almost 20, I've always had debt one way or another, whether it's been a credit card, whether it's been a car loan, whether I've owed people money, whether I've had a mortgage, a personal loan. I don't think I remember a time where I've been debt free, which that's something that I'm striving for right now. And in a way, I don't feel bad because the rest of America, I mean, we're all pretty much the same way, you know? We've been raised in a country where debt is normal, you know, where debt, interest rates, they just eat away at the money that we earned. We've worked very, very hard for our money. I mean, Americans are some of the hardest workers in the world. The problem is we can't get out of debt. These interest rates are eating us alive. And for one reason or another, we can't seem to get that through our thick skulls that this is not the way to have success in life. This is not the way to build something that's gonna last us. It's not the way to get to retirement and live our golden years the best way we can. Debt is not the way. Reason number 4, lifestyle inflation. Instagram shows vacations, new trucks, designer everything, perfect houses, eating out, tech gadgets. Now normal feels boring. Comparison creates pressure. Pressure creates spending. And spending creates debt. Debt creates second jobs. So one of the things that increases peer pressure, one of the things that makes us want to buy more things is social media. I mean, 24/7, most of us are looking at other people and what they have and what they do. And for the people that like celebrities, that like sports stars, they follow them, they see what they have, and they pretty much want to wear the same things. They want to drive the same cars. The only difference is these people are making a shitload of money and you're not. So stop trying to look rich and actually become rich. Because at the end of the day, one thing I've learned at my 40 plus years of living in this world is that nobody gives a crap about you, man. Really. Have you ever noticed that when you talk to people, they always like to talk about themselves? Try it. You know, every once in a while when you're talking to somebody, talk to them and see what they talk about, or where the conversation leads to, or where it goes to. One thing I've noticed is that most of the time it ends up with them and their problems and what they're complaining about. Yeah. Yeah, so eliminate the lifestyle inflation. That way you don't have to get a second job or a side hustle in order to pay off all that debt that you're accumulating, so you can look like somebody you really don't want to become. All right, reason number 6 why most of us are working 10 or more jobs in this great country called America. Okay, number 6. Now, here are some of the things no one taught me when I was younger: compounding interest, investing early, cash flow versus salary, building assets, delayed gratification, savings, an emergency fund, understanding taxes, assets versus liabilities, continuous self-education. You see, this is probably the biggest reason why we're all dumb and ignorant with money, because nobody taught us. For you see, when I was growing up, I used to hear things like, rich people are evil, they're greedy, they're not going to heaven. Spend everything you have because you might die tomorrow and you're not taking anything with you. You see, my parents came from poor beginnings, a poor environment. We escaped a situation in Mexico where, we were poor and we were going nowhere. So, like thousands and thousands of people, we came to America for the American dream. But the other thing that we also adopted when we came to this country wasn't just the American dream, but the American spending, the American ignorance, and the American foolishness of trying to keep up with other people. And don't get me wrong, I had great parents. They were hard workers, like most of us Mexicans are. The only problem was they knew how to make money, but they didn't know how to manage it. Second place where you learn stuff, about life is school. Now, school doesn't teach jack shit about money. For you see, school will teach you a lot of useless things that you will never use in your life. I remember reading an article that said that you only retain 5 to 10% of everything that you learn in school from K through 12 when you're a senior. So between all that time, you retain 5 to 10%. Some of my most favorite classes in school were home ec, where they teach you how to cook. Another one that I really liked was woodshop. I like creating things with my hands. Auto shop was really cool too. So going back, the things that actually taught you about real life, those are the things that I enjoyed. But the problem is that schools get you ready for college. At the end of the day, that's their goal, right? They're still trying to sell this lie that college is going to save your life, college is going to set you up. And at the end of the day, as most of us have been learning, college really doesn't make a big difference anymore. So most of us go to school, we graduate, and then we don't know what the hell to do with our lives. Then we get credit cards, we start living high on the hog, we get into social media, we have no ambition, we have no dreams, we have no goals, we have absolutely nothing to strive for. And believe it or not, goals are kind of important, Those things will take you wherever you want to go. Another thing that they didn't teach me. So if you think the government's going to take care of you, if you think the government is the second coming of Jesus Christ, and when you retire, they're going to take care of all your needs, then I'm sorry, buddy, but you're wrong. Now, let me share a quick story before we end this video. 5 of the co-workers that work with me at the college are 65 and older. One of them is actually 69. But he's 69, but he's one of the hardest workers I've seen. I mean, these old school guys, they're old, but damn, man, they know how to work. Be running circles around all the young guys there, man. But you see, these guys came back to work because their social security just wasn't enough anymore. Inflation finally caught up to them. These guys don't own their houses, so they're paying rent. These guys have old cars that need a lot of maintenance because they're old and they're breaking down. The sad part about all this is that these guys didn't do things right. You know, most of their life they spent it not knowing. Actually, they did know. I'm pretty sure in the back of their mind, they knew that they were going to get to an age where they weren't going to be able to work anymore, you know? And unfortunately, they were in the same situation I was when I was younger, that nobody taught them about money. And sitting down and talking to these guys, they grew up in the same environment I did. So to connect that with my childhood and my environment, my culture, the 5 guys that came back from retirement, they are all Hispanic, Latinos, Mexicans. I don't know what the politically correct way to say that nowadays is, but you get my grip, right? And one thing that all these guys have in common is that all of them did not want to come back to work, right? I mean, they didn't think that someday the money would run out, the government wouldn't pay enough, and that they weren't in the right situation to stay retired. So they had no other choice but to come back. And as I'm sitting down with them and they're giving me some guidance, they're telling me some tips, or telling me, you know, what not to do, what not to spend money on. I'm listening to them and I'm thinking, oh wow, you know, I'm glad I got it. You know, I'm glad I had that moment where I finally realized that if I kept doing the stupid things that I was doing and throwing my money away, I was going to end up just like them. And don't get me wrong, man. These people, they're great people. You guys know old people, man. They have great stories. They have great guidance on what to do about life. It's an enjoyment to sit down and talk with them. I love talking to people that are old because, dude, they've gone through life. They've gone through all the situations and all the things that I haven't. Even though I'm in my early 40s, there's still so many things that I have to learn. And it's always good. This is one tip that I will give you guys. Always pick their brain. You know what I mean? Especially young people. Always talk to older people because, trust me, they know. They know about this thing called life. So unfortunately, in this great country called America, it's becoming normal to have multiple jobs. I mean, I never thought we would get to a point where you would have to have 2 or 3 jobs in order to live comfortably in this country. And I mean, we got the war in Iran going on. That's going to make gas go up. It's going to make groceries go up. It's going to make a boatload of problems. And I don't even know what we're doing fighting wars over there when we can't even get our stuff together here. You know, it's like Tupac said, they got money to fight wars, but they ain't got money to feed the poor.